All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name's Nicole, and welcome back to our English class. Welcome to a brand new session today. It's wonderful to see you all here, ready to continue our journey in mastering English pronunciation. We've spent a good amount of time recently focusing on intonation, right? Learning how the music of our voice helps convey meaning and emotion. You all did a fantastic job with that. Now, today we're going to shift our focus to another incredibly important aspect of pronunciation that will truly make your English sound more natural and fluent. As you can see on the screen, our topic for today is connected speech. Now, this particular area of pronunciation is vital for both understanding spoken English and for sounding more natural when you speak. So sometimes when we listen to English speakers, especially native English speakers, it can feel like they're speaking very fast, right? Or that words are like blending together. So this is a common experience, and it's because the way words interact when spoken in a continuous flow. Understanding these interactions is really a good step, a key step. So, when you learn about connected speech, it will really help you bridge the gap between how English words look on paper and how they actually sound in everyday conversation. It's about recognizing those little shifts and linkages that happen when we speak. So, this knowledge will not only boost your listening comprehension, allowing you to catch more of what's being said, but it will also help you produce more fluid and natural sounding English yourself. Now, it's a crucial step towards sounding more like a native speaker and enhancing your overall fluency. So get ready to open your ears and minds because we are going to explore this fascinating area of English pronunciation. Now, this is pronunciation lecture 1 for connected speech, and I'm very excited to guide you through it. Let's work together to make your English sound even smoother and more authentic. All right, let's dive into this. What is connected speech? For a moment, let me just check my screen. I think it's small. For a moment, let me just, fix it. Okay, that's good. All right, let me continue. Now, again, what is connected speech? Now, this is such a fundamental or important concept, and the more we explore it now, the clearer our journey through the specific types of connected speech will be. Okay? So, as we see on our slide, the very first crucial point is that spoken English often sounds different from written English. This is perhaps one of the biggest challenges for language learners, and it's something that can sometimes make spoken English feel daunting, feel hard, difficult, or incredibly fast, almost like a blur of sounds. Okay? When you learn to read, you see each word clearly separated by spaces, right? Like individual bricks in a wall. For example, you read the sentence "I am going to the store." You read it as I, then am, then going, then to, then store. But when a native speaker says the sentence, if he or she says the sentence, it often doesn't sound like six distinct words. It might sound more like I'm gonna did I? I'm gonna the store. I'm gonna the store. It's something like that. That's connected speech in action. I'm gonna go to the store. I'm gonna go to the store. or something along those lines. No, that's connected speech in action. It might be very hard or difficult because it's totally different from the written English, right? This difference between the neat separated words on a page and the fluid merging sounds in actual speech is precisely what we are talking or tackling here in today's session. It's not that the written form is wrong, it's just that the speaking has its own set of rules of how sounds interact. Now, this leads directly to our second point. Words connect together in fluent speech. This is the heart of connected speech. Imagine you have a string of beads. If you hold them closely, or yeah, if you hold them closely and if you hold them loosely, each bead is separated, right? But if you pull the string taut, the beads press against each other and some might even slightly deform or merge where they touch. Now that's a bit like what happens when words. Instead of starting for each word, our mouths and tongues are constantly moving from one sound to the next without a full break. This means the last sound of one word, um, it can often influence or even merge with the first sound of the next word. So sometimes a sound might disappear completely, even, or two sounds might combine to form a new one, or a sound might even get added in between words just to make transitions smoother. These are not random changes, they happen in predictable ways to make speech flow more easily. And why, you might ask, do we all do this? Well, the clear answer is to speak faster and more smoothly and natural all in all. You can think about it from a practical perspective. Our mouths are constantly trying to be efficient. If we had precisely articulate if we had to precisely articulate every single sound of every single word in isolation, speaking would be incredibly slow and tiring. So, connected speech is a natural strategy that all languages use to some extent to make spoken communication more effortless and continuous. It helps to maintain a natural rhythm and pace, avoiding that choppy, robotic sound. So, for the listener, once you understand these rules of connection, what once sounded like rushed or unclear speech suddenly becomes much easier to follow. It's like having a puzzle where you finally understand how the pieces fit together seamlessly. By mastering connected speech, so sorry. So if you try to master connected speech, no, or not master, maybe if you try to understand, um, if you try to understand connected speech, you are not just speaking faster here, you are speaking more naturally. And that's already a huge step towards true fluency and confident communication in English. It really makes the entire speaking and listening process more efficient and much more enjoyable. Okay? All right, that's on the definition of connected speech. It's very important that we know what is this before we try to dig deeper with its types and how we can use it in a sentence or phrases or paragraphs, even, or any kind of conversation. It's very important that we already had that foundational understanding of what connected speech is. Okay? So that we can understand the more complex information about it. Okay. So, why connected speech matters? We have a solid understanding of what connected speech is and how it fundamentally changes sounds in spoken English. So, let's move on to this, an even more critical question for all of you as English learners. Why connected speech matters? Now, this really so sorry. This really hits home the practical importance of this topic. The first point here is a re-emphasis of something we have touched upon. In real world communication, English is not spoken word by word. It's connected. it's already mentioned earlier, but let's just try to dig more deep in what this is trying to say. This isn't just in an academic concept, it's the reality of how people communicate every single day. Basically, conversational English. Whether you are listening to conversation between friends, a news report, or dialogue in a movie, if you try to listen for every single word in isolation, you'll find yourself struggling because that's not how the language is produced naturally. Words simply don't have those clear individual boundaries when spoken fluently. So they flow, they merge, they transform. So recognizing this is the first step to unlocking true listening comprehension and more natural speaking. And that brings us directly to the second crucial reason connected speech helps sound more natural and fluent. Now, imagine trying to play a musical instrument but pausing noticeably after every single note. It wouldn't sound like a smooth melody, would it? So it would sound disjointed and perhaps a bit strained. So the same applies to speech. When you learn to connect words to allow sounds to merge and flow, your speech gains a natural rhythm and cadence that is characteristic of fluent English. You'll stop sounding like you're translating word for word in your head and start sounding like you're speaking, truly speaking the language. This is not about speaking faster necessarily, but about um, speaking smoother and more effortlessly, which is a hallmark of native like fluency. Okay? Perhaps most importantly for many of you, connected speech is important for listening comprehension. Native speakers use it constantly. Now, this is a huge one. How many times have you felt frustrated listening to English, thinking, wow, they're speaking too fast, or I can't understand what they're saying? So, a significant part of that challenge often comes from connected speech. When what are you going to do sounds like what you're going to do, or I don't know sounds like I don't know. If you are expecting separate words, you will be lost. But once you understand the common patterns of connected speech, suddenly those fast, seemingly mumbled phrases will start to make sense. Okay, your ears will become trained to recognize the blended sounds, and your listening comprehension will improve dramatically. It's truly a skill that empowers you to understand real everyday English as it's actually spoken. I am so sorry. There may are times that I have to do that. I'm so sorry. It's like a bodily response. I cannot really stop it. I cannot force to stop it. It's just natural. It's bodily response. I'm so sorry. I hope you understand. But anyway, let's continue. Again, I'm just gonna there are times that I may be pausing randomly, but I will continue as much as possible. I will finish what I am saying, what I'm discussing. Okay? Let me check my screen. Okay, all good. Let's continue. Here, the slide offers a very profound statement that sums it all up. Speaking clearly is not the same as speaking naturally. Now, this is a brilliant point. When you first learn a language, the focus is often on speaking clearly, right? We make sure every consonant and vowel is perfectly pronounced. And that's important for building a foundation. However, natural speech often involves reducing, blending, and linking sounds for efficiency and flow. So while you might be asking clearly by pronouncing every single sound and every single word, you might not be speaking naturally. Yes, you're speaking clearly, but you might not be speaking naturally. Our goal with connected speech is to help you bridge that particular gap, to allow you to maintain clarity while also developing the fluidity and naturalness that characterize fluent, authentic English communication. So it's about moving beyond just being understood to truly sounding like a natural and confident speaker of English. All right? Okay, so that is, the importance or why connected speech matters. Now, that we have firmly established what connected speech is and why it is so incredibly important for sounding natural and for understanding English in real world, let's dive into the very first specific type of connected speech we are going to explore. But before that, before the type, it's very important that we understand the process of doing connected speech, and that is mainly by linking. So, what is linking? Now, linking is perhaps one of the most common and fundamental aspects of connected speech, and it exactly what it sounds like, no? What the name implies, that's linking. So let's circle back to our main definition. Linking joins words together so speech flows without awkward pauses. Now, imagine speech. Let's try to use an analogy for better understanding. Okay. Imagine you can imagine speech, no, as a road. If there are awkward pauses between words, it's like having speed bumps every few meters. You have to slow down, stop, and then accelerate again. Linking smooths out these bumps, turning separate words into a continuous flowing highway. It's the glue that binds the individual bricks of words into a seamless wall of sound. So when we speak naturally, our mouth, it does not stop after every single word. It's constantly preparing for the next sound, leading to these natural connections. So, this constant flow is what makes listening to native speakers seem fast, but in reality, it's just efficient and smooth. Now, let's really dive into the three primary types of linking as shown in our table. First, constant vowel linking. Now, this is by far the most common type, and once you start listening for it, you will hear it everywhere. It happens when a word ends with a consonant sound and the very next word begins with a vowel sound. The sound from the end of the first word, it literally jumps over and attaches itself to the beginning of the next word. Let's revisit our example here. Get up, get up. Again, get up. The T sound at the end of the get, right? T is the last sound in get, the first word. That T sound, it does not just stop. It flows directly into the first sound of the word up or the sound. So instead of saying get up with a slight break, it becomes get up. Almost as if top, okay, is one new syllable. You can think of other common phrases like okay, we can have pick it up, okay? Pick it up. When said naturally, it sounds like pick it up, right? Pick it up. The K from pick, which is the last sound, it goes to it, which is the it goes to it, the first sound of it, which is E, and it goes and that that second word it goes to the last sound of it will go to the first sound of up, which is so it would sound like pick it up instead of pick it up. Okay, pick it up. Or another example, turn on the light. Now it becomes turn on. Again, turn on. The N from turn, it links to the in on. So that's turn on the light. Instead of turn on the light, we say turn on the light. Turn on the light. Another common one is clean out the garage. The N from clean, it links to the ow, which is the diphthong from out, right? Ow is a diphthong, right? If you're familiar or if you remember our discussion on diphthong, diphthongs are those vowel sounds that smoothly glides to another vowel sound. Basically, two vowel sounds are diphthongs. Two vowel sounds joined together are what we call diphthongs. So here, the diphthong is in the word out is ow. Again, ow. If you see it in the IP transcription, if you're familiar with IP transcription, I've already discussed it in our previous sessions. If you remember IP transcription, this is the IP transcription, the one you see on the column for spoken version. That's the IP transcriptions. That's how it looks like. Inside the slanted brackets, that's IP transcriptions. If you remember our discussion on that, the IP transcription for ow in out, or the diphthong ow, it would be A and U. It's just, symbols that looks like A and U. So there's two vowels that are combined together to form a one diphthong sound. Okay, that's diphthong. Two vowels combined together, two vowel sounds combined together. And diphthong is found in our example. What was that? Clean out the garage. Again, clean out the garage. It is found in the second word, out. So, ow in out. Okay? Now, continuing from that, so clean is connected to out. The letter N sound in clean, it connects to the first sound of out, which is ow. So it sounds like clean out, clean out, clean out the garage. Instead of clean out the garage, instead of saying it separately, we say it naturally. We say it in a connected or linking way, clean out. Okay? So this linking, it avoids that choppiness and makes the entire phrase much more effortless to produce. It helps you conserve breath and energy, which contributes to that sense of ease in fluent speech. Okay? Next, we have vowel to vowel linking. Okay, this type occurs when a word ends in a vowel sound, and the following word also starts with a vowel sound. As I mentioned, English tends to avoid having two vowel sounds clashed directly, right? To smooth this transition, a very small, almost imperceptible linking sound is often inserted. This linking sound is typically either a W sound or a Y sound, as in yes sound. So when we try to to link the two vowel sounds, it would produce some consonant sounds in it. Okay? For example, for better understanding, for example, we have here go out, go out. Again, go out. As you can see in the IP transcription, there is a W there, right? If you see it clearly here, this one, go out. So that's the IP transcription for connected speech version of the phrase go out. So instead of saying go out, you say go out. Again, go out. There's a presence of W in there because two vowel sounds are connected. So instead of saying go out, in a separate way or in a separate clear way, you say go out, which is the connected speech way. Okay? So to avoid an abrupt stop and restart, a tiny W sound is added in between go out, which make it sound like go out. Just like in the IP transcription, go out. It's a very subtle glide, okay? Think of do it, do it. If you say it quickly, it often sounds like do it, right? With W in between. Instead of saying do it, you can do it. You say you can do it, which has a small W that links do and it, right? Or maybe say it. Say it. It can become say it. Say it with a small Y sound. Another example is um mhm. Another example is CM. CM. Let's just say that the H in him is, it's not there. So still vowel to vowel, E and I. The E sound from C links to the I sound from him, which often with a small Y sound in between, sounding like CM instead of CM. CM. These tiny linking sounds are often so brief that you might not even sounding or you might not even notice them, but they are crucial for maintaining that smooth connected flow, making the transition between two vowel sounds feel less effortful and more natural. Okay? All right. Let me just check my screen for a moment. I think everything's good. All right. Okay. Let me continue. So there are already two types, linking types that we've discussed: consonant to vowel, plus and vowel to vowel. So let's finally have the last one. Similar sounds merge. Now, this happens when the sound at the end of one word is very similar or identical to the sound at the beginning of the next word. Instead of articulating the sound twice, our mouths are efficient and we often just pronounce it once, but we might hold the sound slightly longer or simply blend the two occurrences into one seamless sound. Consider the example he is in the table. In natural fast speech, especially when it becomes his, the Z sound is pronounced once, but it acts as the bridge for both words, so it sounds like his. Think about big girl, okay? Big girl. The G sound at the end of big and the G sound at the beginning of girl, it often merge into a single slightly prolonged G sound. So big girl. Or hot day. The T sound at the end of hot and the D sound at the beginning of day are very similar. They are both, alveolar stops, although I cannot really simplify alveolar stop. It's like some part of your mouth is being used to pronounce these letters. So, meaning they use the same part of the mouth. Instead of two distinct sounds, they often merge or assimilate, sounding almost like hade. Okay? Hade. This merging effect, it makes the speech less choppy. It makes it more efficient. It prevents you from having to articulate the exact same or very similar sound twice in quick session or succession, creating a much more smoother transition. It's a much smoother transition. No? So, as the tip on the slide beautifully summarizes, linking keeps the rhythm smooth and regular, especially in fast speech. It is the underlying mechanism or way that creates the rhythm and melody of fluent English, which enables us to speak without those awkward hesitations. By actively listening for and practicing these linking patterns, consonant to vowel, vowel to vowel, and similar sounds merging, you will unlock a new level of naturalness in your own speaking and critically, you'll find what once sounded like indecipherable or something that you cannot really understand in rapid speech from native speaker, it suddenly becomes much clearer and easier to understand for you. It really is a game changer for both your productive and receptive skills. Okay? All right. That is on linking. Very simple. So now let's move on. All right, now that we have had a truly in depth exploration of what is linking and its three main types, consonant to vowel, vowel to vowel, and similar sounds merging, let's solidify our understanding with a very practical comparison. Take a look at this next slide, which is titled Linking versus Clear Speech. This table provides a fantastic visual and auditory no, not just a visual, but auditory because there's an IP transcription there. It can guide you. It shows you exactly how words change when they move from being spoken in isolation to being part of a smooth connected stream of conversation. Okay? Now, this comparison is incredibly important because it highlights the difference between simply pronouncing words correctly one by one and pronouncing them naturally as part of a sentence. Okay? Let's break down each example in this table, paying close attention to the clear, isolated words column versus the connected speech column. First, we have, sorry, first we have the phrase he is. He is. Now, if you say these two words very clearly and separately, as shown in the clear isolated words column, you would pronounce them something like he is. He is. You distinctly hear the H sound from he and the is from is. There is a clear separation. However, in natural connected speech, especially when it becomes a common contraction, it flows very differently. Look at the connected speech column. It becomes his. His. It's slowly becoming its construction contractions. His. Notice what happened. The initial H sound from he has often completely disappeared in rapid informal speech, and the words have merged into almost a single syllable. His, or just that his sound, this is a perfect example of how similar sounds can merge, or how sounds can be elided or disappear to create a smoother, more efficient flow, just as we discussed with similar sounds merge earlier. Saying his is much faster and it requires less effort than trying to articulate two separate words distinctly. Next, consider the phrase go out. If you were to say these words in isolation, you would likely pronounce them as go out. Okay? You hear the clear vowel sound at the end of go and then another clear vowel sound at the beginning of out. There is like a slight, almost, imperceptible, cannot be stopped in between if you're trying to be overly precise. But now look at the connected speech version. It's go out. Okay? What do you notice there? The little W sound has magically appeared in between the two vowel sounds. This is exactly what we talk about with vowel to vowel linking. Our mouths naturally insert a small, almost unnoticeable glide, like a W or Y sound, to prevent two vowels from clashing. So this makes the transition smooth and effortless. Try saying go out slowly and then faster, letting that little W sound natural form. So in clear, isolated words, it would sound like go out. In connected speech, it's go out. Okay? Try saying go out slowly and then faster, letting that little W sound naturally form. You'll feel how much smoother it is than trying to stop between go and out. Go out. Okay? And finally, we have turn on. If said in isolation, it might be turn on, with a clear distinction between the end of turn and the beginning of on. However, in connected speech, it often becomes turn on. Here, the consonant sound N at the end of turn seamlessly links with the vowel sound at the beginning of on. The N sound literally carries over and initiates the next syllable. This is our consonant vowel linking in action. Instead of a distinct N sound and then a distinct O sound, the two words become interconnected, which almost forms a single unit of sound. So saying turn on is much more efficient and flows much better than trying to say turn on. So this slide perfectly encapsulates why mastering linking is so important, because when you understand these patterns, you can do two crucial things. First, you can produce speech that sounds more authentic, it sounds more natural, it sounds more fluent, because you are speaking the way native speakers actually do, without those awkward pauses. Second, and perhaps even more immediately impactful, your listening comprehension will dramatically improve. When you hear his or go out or turn on, your brain will quickly recognize these as he is, go out, and turn on, because you are now familiar with the connected forms, not just the isolated ones. It's like learning the real world shortcuts of the language. This allows you to process spoken English much more efficiently and with far less mental effort, which leads to a much more satisfying and effective communication experience. All right? Okay. That's already clear to us. Now, fantastic work on understanding the theory, no, the concepts behind linking and connected speech. So, seeing how clear speech differs from connected speech. Now, it's time to put that knowledge into action. Okay. As you can see on the screen, it's practice time. Now, this slide shows us some sentences and how they sound when spoken naturally, which is we call connected speech. This is where we take all we have learned and really start to train our ears to hear these smooth sounds and our mouths to make them. For each sentence, I'll say it slowly first, and then we'll talk about how sounds connect. And then I'll say it naturally for you to copy. Don't worry too much about the special letters IPA. Okay, that's in International Phonetic Alphabet. I included that one because IPA is very important, because it acts, or the purpose of IPA, or International Phonetic Alphabet, is it is a guide for pronunciation. Because we know, I've already mentioned it to you in the previous sessions, way back. I've mentioned it to you that English, what makes English really difficult is that there is there are 26 alphabet letters, but there are 44, I think 44 if I'm not mistaken, 44 English sounds. So there it is not 1:1. There is one alphabet can be pronounced in many different ways, which is what makes English really complex and difficult and hard to learn. So that is why there is an IPA, or International Phonetic Alphabet. This is a pronunciation guide. There is one symbol per sound in English. So that is why it's very important that we are very familiar with IPA transcription. Okay? All right. Again, for each sentence, I'll say it slowly first, and then we'll talk about how the sounds connect, and then I'll say it naturally for you to copy. So the main goal here is to feel how your mouth moves and to hear also the words connect. Okay? Just focus on the sounds and how they blend together. So, let's start with our first sentence. Can I have an apple? If we say each word by itself, it sounds like, can I have an apple? Again, can I have an apple? One more time. Can I have an apple? You can feel those tiny little stops or pauses between each word, right? So that's how we say it clearly. But in natural everyday talk, no, we connect these words in connected speech. We connect these words. Listen closely to the way the words flow together like a train where the cars are all hooked up. So in can I, the N sound at the end of can, so here, this one, the N sound of can, it actually connects right to the sound of I. Okay? This one. So it connects. Let me highlight the two. This two connects. It sounds like can I. Again, can I. As you can see on the IP transcription, the two the IP transcriptions of the two words are connected, right? Can I. So it sounds like that. Can I. It's like the N moves over to the next word. Can I? Can I? Then in have, okay, in in have an, the V sound at the end of have joins the A sound in, or A sound in an. So it becomes havan. Okay, this one, havan. And for an apple, an apple, okay. The N from an, it links with the A from what? A from apple. Okay? It sounds like an apple. So the whole sentence often sounds like one smooth strings of sounds, right? Can I have an apple? That's the clear way. Can I have an apple? In connected speech, we say it as, can I have an apple? Can I have an apple? Again, can I have an apple? Which is very different from can I have an apple? We say it as can I have an apple? That's unconnected speech. We say it with a linking words. No, the sounds of each word are, or some words in the sentence are linked together for it to sound more natural. No, for it to be efficient when we say it. Can I have an apple? That's how you say it in connected speech. Now you try it with me. Focus on making those connections smooth, Like there are no gaps between the words. Can I have an apple? 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 Again, can I have an apple? Can I have an apple? All right, great job feeling that flow. Let's move to our next example. She's staying in tonight. Say it slowly, word by word. She's staying in tonight. Now let's connect it. The important part here is staying in. Staying ends with an NG sound and in starts with an I sound or E sound, like E. In natural speech, that NG sounds links directly to the what? To the E sound in. So that one I highlighted. So it just, slides right into the next word. So the whole sentence flows like, she's staying in tonight. She's staying in tonight. Okay? Instead of saying she's staying in tonight, we say she's staying in tonight. Staying in tonight. Staying in tonight. She's staying in tonight. So that's the whole sentence in connected speech. Try it with me. Feel that smooth bridge from staying to in. She's staying in tonight. She's staying in tonight. Okay, excellent. All right. Let's continue. Our third sentence for practice, he got up early. Again, he got up early. Separated words. He got up early. That's in clear way. He got up early. The main linking here is in got up. Okay? Let me highlight that one. Got up. It's like here got, the word got, which is the first word in got up. The word got ends with a T sound, right? And up starts with an A sound. When we link them, the T sound from got, okay, let me just highlight it for you for better understanding. The T sound from got, this one, the T sound from got, it moves and attaches to the A sound in up. It sounds like got up, got up. No, just like in the IP transcription, look at that. Got up, got up. It's like top but becomes a part of got. Okay? So you will hear get up, he got up early. He got up early. Instead of he got up early, you hear he got up early. So let's practice together. He got up early. Again, he got up early. Feel how that T just smoothly jumps over to up. Okay? This is super common in everyday talk. All right. Next up, the fourth sentence, turn on the lights. If we say it clearly, word by word, turn on the lights. Now let's link them. The key connection is in turn on. Turn ends with an okay. Turn ends with N sound and on starts with an O sound. Okay? Let me highlight that. Okay. The N sound from turn, it easily connects right into the O sound of on. So it sounds like turn on. Turn on. Okay? Turn on. The two words blend into one smooth sound unit. Okay? Turn on. Try saying it naturally with me. Turn on the lights. Instead of turn on the lights, we say turn on the lights. Hear how turn on sounds almost like one longer word. That is linking. Turn on the lights. Again, turn on the lights. All right. And for our last example in this slide, I am happy. Again, I am happy. This is said very distinctly. I am happy. That's how you say it distinctly. In connected speech, especially when we use the short form I'm, the M sound at the end of I'm, okay, it connects to happy. So it's not I am happy, but more like I'm happy or I am happy. I'm happy. Where the sounds just glide into each other. Let's practice this connected pronunciation. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. Focus on making that I am flow directly into happy without a pause. Okay? I am happy. Your turn. I'm happy. Okay, that's for the first set of sentences. No, excellent work, everyone. So these first set of sentences, it really shows you how common linking is in natural English. It's not about making individual words perfect anymore. It's about making the whole sentence flow smoothly. So keep practicing these. Listen for them when you hear English spoken naturally and try to use them yourself. With practice, these connections will start to feel very natural for you too. And you'll find both your speaking and listening skills improving a lot. Okay? All right. Fantastic work on our first set of practice for linking. I can already hear you making those connections smoother. Let's really dig in and continue the great progress with another round of practice time. We're going to take our time with each example, making sure it's super clear and easy to understand. Okay? While really getting that feeling of connected speech. Now, this slide gives us more opportunities to really drill down on these linking patterns. Basically, this set of slide, it's more detailed than the previous one. So the previous one, it's just, surface level of explanation. It's just a warm up. This is where I will be really digging deeper on the explanations, giving you detailed details. Okay? All right. Remember always, the big goal here is not just to know the rules, but to train your ears to hear these connected sounds in real life and to train your mouth to produce them effortlessly. So when you can do this, your English will sound much more natural and it flows so much more easily. Just like before, I'll say the sentence, explain in simple terms how the sounds link, and then we'll practice together. Don't feel pressured by the special letters, okay? The IPA transcription. They are just guides. Focus on the actual sounds and how they blend together. Let's jump into our first new sentence for today. I needed. Again, I needed. Now, if we say these words separately, it sounds like I need it. You can clearly You can clearly You can clearly hear those three individual words. And there's a little stop after need before you say it. But in natural flowing speech, we connect these. Look closely at these sounds. Need ends with a D sound, right? And it starts with an E sound or I sound. Now, in connected speech, that's D sound from need, it does not stop. Instead, it jumps right over and links directly to the I sound or E sound of it. It's like the D becomes the beginning of the next syllable. So it sounds like I need it. Need it. Okay, need it instead of I need it. I need it. See how that D connects? It's like your tongue does not have to stop and restart. It just moves smoothly from D into the E. Think about it. Saying need it is much faster and uses less effort than saying need than it with a tiny pause. So this is a classic example of what consonant to vowel linking, where a consonant sound at the end of a word connects to a vowel sound at the start of the next. So try saying it with me, focusing on making that D sound from need. Jump right into it. I need it. Again, I need it. Feel how smooth that is? That's the feeling we are aiming for. Okay? I need it. All right. Our second example is she is here. Again, she is here. That's our second example. Now, in everyday English, everyone, she is, it's very often to get shortened to its contraction. She's, right? She's with the apostrophe S. Even without the shortening, when she ends with a vowel sound and is starts with a vowel sound, something interesting happens. But let's focus on the common way it's said. When we use she's, the Z sound at the end of she's then connects very smoothly to the beginning of here. Okay? She's here. So the IPA shows it as like that. She's here. Okay? This means that a Z sound is carried forward without a break into here. It becomes she's here as one fluid sound. Okay, it's not like you say she's and then pause and then say here, like she's here. The Z sound, it just flows right into it. So she's here. She's here. This is part of the general principle of sounds merging or flowing together to avoid pauses. It makes the phrase quick and easy to say. Let's practice saying or making it smooth. She's here. She's here. Feel how those sounds blend without any bumps. She's here. Okay? She's here. Moving on to the third sentence, go on. When said separately, go on. Two clear, distinct words. But in connected speech, look at the IPA transcription. What do you see that is not part of the spelling of the phrase go on? It is the letter W. Okay. Now, how do you call that? In connected speech, that IPA, go on, this is a super clear example of vowel to vowel linking. Go ends with an O sound, and on starts with an O sound. When two vowel sounds meet like this, English speakers often add a tiny, very light linking sound in between. It's usually a subtle W, like in water, or Y sound, like in yes, just to help your mouth move smoothly from one vowel to the next without a stop. So for go on, you often hear a tiny W sound inserted, making it sound like go on. Again, go on. It's not a strong W, just like a little glide. It's like your mouth does not want to stop the airflow. Go on. Saying go on is much faster, is much easier, and flows better than making two separate vowel sounds. It gives your speech a natural rhythm. Okay? Try saying it with me. I'm sorry for that. Try saying it with me. And really feel that tiny bridge between go and on. Go on in clear speech, in connected speech. Go on. Again, go on. One more time, go on. Hear that smooth connection? All right, fantastic. Next up, a fantastic example with a few linking points. Get up and dance. If we say it slowly, word by word, get up and dance. Let's look at the connected speech IPA. Get up and dance. This sentence is packed with linking. First, get up. We know this one well. The T from get links to the A from up, making get up. Your tongue just keeps moving forward for the next sound. Then up and the P sound from up connects to the A sound like a from and, which makes a pun. This is another consonant to vowel link, making it quick and easy. And finally, and dance. This is interesting. The D sound at the end of and often gets very, very soft or even disappears completely when it's followed by another consonant sound, especially one that's similar like the D sound in dance. It's just easier for for our mouths to say and dance, and than and dance. Okay, it's much easier for you to say and dance instead of and dance with two strong D sounds. So it's like and becomes just an like an in very natural speech. So the whole thing flows like one long sound. Get up and dance. Again, get up and dance. Instead of get up and dance, get up and dance. Let's try this longer one together. Focus on all those connections. Get up and dance. Again, get up and dance. Okay, your turn. Try to say it in your own comfortable spaces. Get up and dance. Again, get up and dance. Again, get up and dance. All right. Okay, let's try this longer one together. Again, get up and dance. Okay, very good. Excellent. You are really getting the hang of making sounds flow. And our last practice sentence for the set and for today's session, you and I are friends. Again, hold up for a moment. Let me check my screen. Okay. For a moment it gets cropped. Let me just fix that one for a moment. Okay, the screen is good now, right? Okay. All right. Okay. The screen is now good and okay. Okay. Let's continue with our last sentence. Last practice sentence for this set: you and I are friends. Now, if it is said very distinctly, like word by word, you and I are friends. That's how you say it. You and I are friends. But in natural connected speech, things change quite a bit. Okay? Look at the IPA. Let me highlight that for you. You and I are friends. Now, you might get confused why there is a letter J in there. Now, in IPA transcription, in IPA, everyone, the symbol for letter Y, or the symbol for the sound of Y, is letter J. Okay? Let me just make it clear for you so that your confusions are cleared, your confusions are answered. Again, in IP transcription, the symbol for Y sound, letter Y sound, is letter J. Okay, so that is why J is there. That's pronounced as U still. Okay, it is pronounced as letter Y. You, you and I are friends. Okay, all right. So to clear the confusions, first, let's try to dissect. Let's try to explain this sentence. First, you and. Okay, these two words, first two words, is similar to and dance. The D sound in and often gets softened or disappears, especially before another vowel sound like I. So you and, okay? Instead of you and, it sounds like you and without D. It's very common. It's a natural reduction to make speech faster. Then IR, this is another vowel to vowel linking example. The I sound at the end of I meets the A sound like A from R. To smooth this out, a tiny, subtle Y sound like in yes is often inserted. Okay? You and I. Okay? So it sounds like IR. IR. Okay? I'm so sorry. So it sounds like um Yunayar. Yunayar. Okay? IR. Your tongue quickly moves up from the tiny Y glide. Okay? All right. So the whole sentence sounds much more like you and I are friends. You and I are friends. Let's try to make it smooth and connected as possible. You and I are friends. Again, you and I are friends. Okay? Great work. Great work, everyone. Really focusing on those natural flows. All right. That's the last sentence for today's session. Lot in this practice time, especially. You are all doing an absolutely amazing job with these linking exercises. It might seem like a lot of tiny details, right? Because it's tiny details. But remember, every time you practice these connections, you are not just making your English sound more natural. You're also training your ears to understand native speakers better and faster. So this is how real world conversations keep up the excellent yeah, it this is how real world conversations happen. I'm sorry. So great job for today, everyone. Um Make sure to, if you have time on your own, in your own comfortable spaces, when you have a free time, make sure to practice. No, it's very important that you practice so that you can really hone your skills when it comes to English speaking. Okay, keep listening and keep practicing. We'll continue exploring more types of connected speech in our next session, which is, of course, tomorrow. Okay, so that is the end of this session on linking in connected speech, which is the first big part of our discussion in connected speech. No, linking is our first big part of discussion in connected speech. We've covered quite a lot today, haven't we? We started by understanding what linking is all about, how it joins the words together, so speech flows without awkward pauses. We explored the three main types, the consonant to vowel, vowel to vowel, and similar sounds can merge. So we've spent also a lot of time practicing. So what's next? Keep practicing. The best way to get better at linking is to listen for it constantly. Pay attention to how words connect when you listen to English speakers in movies, in podcasts, or even just in conversations around you. Try to imitate those connections yourself, even in simple phrases, because the more you listen and try to copy, the more natural these linking patterns will become for you. It's like building a muscle. No, the more you see it, the more or the stronger it gets. Thank you all for your great participation and hard work today. You're doing a fantastic job training your ears and mouths to speak English more like a native speaker. I'm really looking forward to our next session tomorrow, where we will explore even more fascinating aspects of connected speech. Keep practicing, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye and have a great night ahead.